Very good afternoon to all my dear students. I welcome you all into the Industrial Pharmacy 2. See, dear students, our today's topic of discussion that is related with the drug discovery, that how the drugs are discovered and these are going to be developed. See, although it seems to be very simple, the term that is the drug discovery, but as far as if the details that we will see, it is a very lengthy process, it is very time consuming process, it is the costlier process. But still, every company, they are going to be investing their money in case of discovery of the drug. Since last few months, the government of India also had taken initiation as far as the drug discovery is concerned. And they had conducted a program which is said to be the Drug Discovery Hackathon. So that is the discovery of the new drugs. Because say, why there is a need to go for the some new drugs? Because most of the drugs that might having their side effects. Once the drug has been discovered, it does not mean that the job that will end there only. The job that will not there only when we are getting the dosage form, because the product has to be continuously monitored. The product has to continuously undergo surveillance. That is what is said to be the post-marketing surveillance. And through this post-marketing surveillance, if it has been observed that the drug that is not giving the promising results, then there is need to go for the discovery of some of the new drugs which are more efficacious, which are more specific, which are giving more benefit and less side effects and the toxic effects. So the process of drug discovery, that is the continuous process and that cannot be stopped. And every company, these are going to be involving, they are going to be investing their money, their resources in case of the drug discovery processes. So this is what is just in short the overview as far as the drug discovery process is concerned, and it requires the millions and billions of rupees. It requires around say 10 to 15 years to bring a particular drug into the market. So let's go through the slides and see what are the details associated with the drug discovery processes. So here you can see this is the just in short how the processes that are involved in case of the drug discovery, and these are going to be represented schematically through this diagram. The drug discovery process that will consist of the early stages. That early stages, that is nothing but the idea generation and the hypothesis generation. Once we get the idea, then only we can initiate, we can begin. As the famous scientist, the former president of our India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam already said that think the if you are thinking, you will be getting the idea, and that the idea that will get converted into the action. So that is what is involved in case of the drug discovery. In the early stages of the research and the drug discovery, there is idea, there is a hypothesis generation. Now with this hypothesis and all, it will be followed by the preclinical study onto the animal models. Then it will be subjected to that of the clinical studies, clinical drug discovery phase, which will passes through the three different stages, like say the phase 1, phase 2, and the phase 3. Phase 1 that will ensure the safety, it is going to be performed onto the 20 to 80 healthy individuals, and it will take around 1 to 2 years. The phase 2, that is in order to ensure the efficacy along with the safety, so which require the study onto the 100 to 300 patients, again which will take 1 to 3 years. The phase 3 that will again ensuring the safety and efficacy into the larger number of the population, say 1000 to 3000 number of the patients. and it will take 2 to 3 years. Once all these has been proven, the drug that is subjected to the process of the approval phase, the Food and Drug Administration that will reviews the processes and they will give the approval. So again, it will take around 1 to 2 years. And once the product that will reaches to the market, it will under the process of the post-approval studies. That is the SUPAC studies, SUPAC studies, or the post-approval studies, or the post-marketing uh, surveillance. Now here if we see that the drug discovery, that is the early stages, they will consist of the target identification, hit generation, and the lead generation and the lead optimization. Now as you can see that target identification, that means a particular target that is to be set, that is to be decided, and which are the molecules they will show the promising results onto this target, onto this molecule, onto this biomolecule. These drugs are going to be selected and these are said to be the hits. Now out of these all hits, we have to go for the lead optimization and the lead generation. Now that lead is what? That lead is nothing but the particular drug with the promising results without side effects, right? So this is what is all this, and it will require say around 95 million of the US dollar, that is cost involved in case of the post marketing studies. The cost involved into the preclinical and the clinical study that will take around 467 millions of rupees, and the preclinical study that will involve along with the right from the idea generation and the hypothesis some 335 million. So if you see overall these, that is it will take around 800 to 900 millions of rupees in order to bring a single drug species into the market. So let's begin that how all these processes that will start, or how it will all begins. Now this process that will begins with the idea. Now the value of a project that will depends upon the quality of the idea, what kind of idea we had. And realistically, if you will only have a great idea if you are very experienced and steeped into the field. In general, the ideas can be categorized as therapeutic area, lead, or mechanically lead. So that is the idea. The idea that will be advances yourself. Now here particularly, you need to go for advancing your idea. How you will go for advancing your idea? You can have, or you have to convince a large number of population that your idea is worth spending a great deal of money onto that one. You have to convince to the stakeholders, you have to convince to the management, you have to convince to the company managers, so that they can take a lead onto your idea. So the better the idea and the plan, the more the chances of succeeding. Then there is a generation of the hypothesis, and hypothesis is generated from either in-house experimentation or from external published material. We require the basis, we require the strong foundation, we require the strong base in order to bring that idea into the hypothesis. So that will be through the experiments, that will be through the researches which was published, or just the eureka moment in the bath. The hypothesis should link a process to a fundamental pathological way. Modifying the pathway that should be expected to be curative or anti-symptomatic. So what is the process that underpins the drug discovery? Again, this is the schematic representation. This is the flow chart. You can see there is a biophysical characterization. There is a selection of the patient population, dosing strategies in case of the preclinical development. Target identification that will involve the antibody design goal, lead optimization that will involve the study of the biomarkers, bioassays development. Then the preclinical development, that is the involving study of the pharmacokinetic, pharmacodynamic, that is the absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, ADMET studies, preclinical safety, and the mechanistic biomarkers. Then in case of the clinical development phase 1, there is a dose selection and the dosing regimen which is going to be optimized. and then it remains into the developmental stage of the clinical, that is the phase 2 and the phase 3. So this is the workflow for the production of a novel monoclonal antibody therapy, but the process is broadly similar for all NCE development. Now what the NCE is? NCE, that is nothing but the new chemical entity molecules. What is the target? Now, target is any system that can be potentially be modulated by a molecule to produce a beneficial effect, right? Generally, a target is a protein molecule, although it could be any biological, be it nucleic acid, carbohydrate, or lipids. So all these are the target molecule. What are the target? Target that might be protein molecule, that might be nucleic acid, that might be carbohydrate, that might be lipid, onto which the drug that will going to act, that is said to be the target. In the past, an animal model of disease that could represent a target, but nowadays it is not. Nowadays we are going for the biomolecules. Target identification, in essence of the pharmacology, is the science of the interaction of xenobiotic with components of the living body. Such compounds interact with the human body through binding to a biological molecule, generally proteins, but also nucleic acid, fatty acid, carbohydrate, and amongst the others. As a result of the interaction, the function of the target is modified such that a change in a pathway is induced. It is intended that the modification of the pathway will produce a beneficial effect on a disease process. Now, what generally this target identification means that what molecule we had selected, whether it is carbohydrate, whether it is nucleic acid, whether it is protein, or any other fatty acid, whether really is it the target, whether really is it worthy to work or to hit or to select that particular biomolecule as a target or not. That is nothing but the target identification. Next is the target validation. Now, effectively, target validation is a form of risk assessment. The better the validation, the lower the risk that is involved in advancing the project, right? Because say drug discovery, it is the process in which at each and every stage there is an involvement of the risk. And by doing the validation processes, what we are doing, we are going on reducing the process of, we are going on reducing the chances of risk that is going to be involved. So lesser will be the risk, maximum will be the safety. Now this approach is not so common now, isn't it? See, I think you should be more explicit here in step 2, right? What we think that is not important, what you think that is not important. What is important is how it will work. So that is what is the explanation of this particular figure, of this particular picture. Don't underestimate the importance of the proper planning. In case of any kind of project, in case of any kind of work, there is a necessity to go for the planning, right? If you are not properly planning, either it might be a single spelling. If you'll just see this particular picture, there is a SHCOOL, isn't it? So if you are not properly writing this spelling, the total meaning that will goes on changing. So we require the school, SCHOOL, isn't it? Or we require SCHOOL, but if we are not concentrating onto the spelling, how that will happen or what it will give totally the different word, right? So it became the, instead of school, it became the stool, isn't it? So there is a great significance of proper planning. There is a great significance of each and every step in case of the drug discovery processes. Now, in order to start a drug discovery project, to explore the potential of your newly validated target, you need to populate a team. So you require the team, you require the researcher, you require the experts from the different areas, from the different expertise, from the different analytical procedures. Now this team needs to have individuals with different expertise in order to advance the project. Single person cannot continue with the processes. So the development of a stage project or development of a discovery processes that will go through the asset development. So for asset development, we require the microbiological biologist, we require the pharmacologist, we require the automation specialist. For medicinal chemistry, we require the medicinal chemist, the process chemist. For ADME process, we require the ADME specialist, the people who will be having the knowledge of the adsorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, right? Transformation. We require the in vivo pharmacologist in order to study the effect of the drug inside of the body. We require the pathologist, what the untoward effect the drug that is going to be producing into the biological system. We require the IT specialist, we require the IP support, we require the intellectual property support, because the drug development that is going to be involving the lots of crores of rupees, time. So there is a need to make claim of the property, like say the intellectual property. So require the proper people from the intellectual property areas. Transfected cell lines, the DNA encoding, so that is important in case of the biological studies and all, or when we want to go for a discovery of a biological compound. The DNA encoding the protein of interest is isolated. Some jiggery pokery goes on the protein, becomes the expressed into the cell line. So the advantages of these processes are, if not completely vastly, it will remove the need for animal tissue in this process. That will allows for a highly reproducible source of material for assay purposes, and that will give the expression level that allow testing on protein that may be present in a very low yet significant level in the tissues. That will allow for the easy test development. Now, how long do you spend on your project? It is a human nature to champion your own idea, and in the past, people would continue to carry on with a project long after it should have been abandoned. Nowadays, with the advent of high throughput technologies, it is common that a project would last about 18 months. So 18 months, that is the duration which has been given. So what are the different phases? The phases that will consist of the high throughput screening, the hit identification, and the hit validation. Hit identification is what? A hit is a compound that has activity at a predetermined level against a target, right? Based on our hypothesis, based on our idea, what the activity the product is showing, what the activity the molecule is showing. That molecule is said to be the hit. Hit validation, hit are screened against an alternative assay. This could be a functional assay or a different assay format to rule out the false positive results. Hit identification. Hit identification is what? Those molecules that are identified at this stage have an affinity for the target, but little else is known about them. The identification of the molecules which will possess affinity to that of the target, these are said to be the hit identification, but we don't know the details about them. Let's say, for example, in the case of a receptor, it would be difficult or impossible from a traditional binding assay to determine whether they are antagonist, agonist, partial agonist, inverse agonist, or even allosteric modulators without performing further investigations. Now, once you have validated a target, the next step is the process is hit identification. To do this, you need to develop a test system that will allow you to determine compounds that interact with your target. Now, in the past, this was often achieved by using whole animal system. With the advent of the molecular biology, however, it is common to test for interactions using recombinant proteins expressed in cell lines. Such approaches have resulted in a very significant reduction into the animal usage by the pharmaceutical industries. And because of the animal ethical issues, nowadays the animals, these are not that much used. Instead of that, we are going to be working on to the cell lines. Lead identification. The validated hits are virtually never the complete article with respect to being the drug. The next phase is to identify those hits that have properties other than just activity against the target. That would indicate that they have potential for being developed as a drugs. So lead, these are nothing but the compound that could be possessing the property to be developed as a drug when they will interact with that of the target molecule. Now at this particular stage, the validated hits would be tested to determine the factors. Which factors? The factors such as selectivity versus panel of the other receptors, physicochemical characteristics, drug-like properties, and metabolic properties. Now, those molecules with acceptable potency, physical, and ADME properties that can be advanced through the lead optimization. Those molecules fulfilling the lead identification criteria can go to the molecular finishing school. At this stage, the medicinal chemists, they will conduct the extensive structure activity relationships to improve the potency and the selectivity. Also, this is the opportunity to improve the physicochemical and the drug-like properties. When the field has been narrowed down, the best molecule are advanced to animal models and preliminary toxicity studies that is to be performed. So individuals these are involved in these processes, they will include the molecular biologist, molecular bioscientist, medicinal chemist, pharmacokinetics group, formulation group, clinical researchers, and the marketers. Now the next is that is after lead optimization, the candidate selection. So the candidate selection at this stage, those optimized leads that are scrutinized for their properties. Now, which properties are going to be considered? The potency, selectivity, bioavailability, IP position, safety, scale-up potential, that you can make enough, it can be cheaply enough. The data on the successful candidate will then be submitted to the appropriate health authorities to get permission to conduct the clinical investigations. Now, can we reduce the animal usage? Yes. In short, the answer is yes. In fact, there has been a significant reduction into the animal uses in the pharma industry over the last few years as a result of the introduction of the new technologies and the approaches. More than 82% of the animals used for experimentation are the rodents. Only 4% of the experiments are performed in the mammals other than the rodents. There has been a fall of 16% in animal usage since 1987. The UK is probably the most regulated country in the world with respect to animal experimentation. There are good reasons that why companies want to reduce the animal usage, not least the financial. Now, this process doesn't take long, right? Because the process that was just outlined take in the order of 3 to 5 years to get the candidate selection. So the process that was just outlined that will take around 3 to 5 years to get to the candidate selection. Now from candidate selection to launch it can take around 9 years. Now the overall time from beginning to the end of the process averages out at about 9 to 16 years. Now you can see that in this particular picture, the disease target and the molecular selection and performing the biological activities into the cell system and the animal models that will take around the 4 years, which will require the regulatory approval. After getting the regulatory approval, the molecule, the drug that is to be tested onto the clinical trials, onto the healthy volunteers and onto the patient. So to test them onto the healthy volunteer, it will take around 1 year, and onto the patient, it will take around the 5 years. So then the regulatory approval is to be seek, and the new medicine that will be coming into the market with the continuous monitoring. So drugs, these are overpriced. This is the particular myth, because say whatever the amount that had been invested, there is a need to go for a recovery of these amount, and that's why into the initial beginning stage. That's why into the initial beginning stage, the drug cost that will lots of, right? Now, once it will get released through the patent, the product that will become available into the market at a cheaper rate. Just if we want to see that how much drug discovery process it will cost, as already I told you in the beginning itself that it will cost around 800 to 900 millions of US dollars. This is a quite hard question to answer that, but the study that was performed that will indicate that the estimated cost on an average is the 800 million US dollar to develop a new drug. Although it is not confirmed to estimate for a drug development of a new drug that are now in the order of 0.5 to 2 billions. So it is too much high. So that's why the cost of the drug which came into the market through the drug discovery process, that is somewhat costlier one. Now there are again certain maths. These are predicting just how a molecule will behave in a model is a particularly difficult task. Just we had developed the molecule, it does not mean that whether it will completely work, right? Or whether it will give the predictable result. No matter how powerful the computer is, it is limited by the knowledge of those performing the test. No doubt, the computer, they can perform the task at a very high speed, but how the computer that will perform, how it will work, that is based on the instructions which has been given to them by the performers, by the users. It would require that we know pretty much everything about every biological system, which obviously that we don't have, right? What the system or how the system that will work, that is not completely yet known. Almost to say only 2 to 5% of the cell functioning which has been known till so far. Around 98 to 95% functioning of the cells, these are still not known. Even if we did understand all the biological system, we would have to predict how such a molecule would interact with the various components of a system, which we cannot. We don't know that whether, although the drug that is going to be working onto the target, but how it will going to be working onto the others, that is very difficult to predict in the very short period of time. The point here would be, would you be more confident on the prediction of safety of a molecule based purely on computer simulations, or one that had been tested in animals? This is already I explained that what the result the computer that is giving, that is based on the instructions which has been given to them. And there is a need to continuously go for updation of the computers in order to get the predictable and the correct results without obtaining the false results. Moreover, this approach is just as likely to miss rare events based on the individual genetic traits. So just how much does it cost? To answer to this already we had given, but yet there is no exact answer to this, that how much cost is involved in case of the drug discovery. So although these figures, these are a little out of date, but they are probably worse now with the introduction of the high throughput skinning. It gives an idea of how wasteful the process is. For every 30,000 compounds synthesized, say around 2,000, that is 6.7%, they will enter into the preclinical development. Out of 2,000, the 200 they will enter into the phase 1 trials. Out of 200, the 40 that will enter into the phase 2 clinical trials. Out of 40, the 12 that will enter into the phase 3 clinical trials. And out of 12, the 8 these are approved. And out of 8, one that will give you the satisfactory return onto the investment. Right? So this is the scenario, or this is said to be the chances of getting the percentage. It is the 0.003% chances are there as far as getting the drug with the desired results through the drug discovery processes. So this is, you can see the process which is said to be the bottleneck. The hundreds of discovery approaches that was done by the Pfizer. So So that will involve the high risk process, which would take around 11 to 15 years and around million of the US dollar 800. So millions of the compounds, these are going to be screened, out of which the compound they will shows the preclinical pharmacology that was less. So you can see this particular shape. So that is the funnel shape, or this is the particular stage which is said to be the bottleneck. And you can see as we will move from this particular discovery to the exploratory development to the full development, the size is getting reduced. It means what? The number of compound, these are high, these are in the millions when we start, but when we obtain the drug, at that time the number that will get reduced either just one or two, because they will get filtered, the compound they will get filtered at preclinical pharmacology stage. Sorry, the compound they will get filtered at preclinical safety stage, the compound they will get filtered at clinical pharmacology and safety stage. Further, through the phase 1, phase 2 and the phase 3 stages, again the number of compound that will going to be reduced to the very few number of the compounds. So don't forget that it also costs to develop the one even that will fail. We are not going to be involving our money only in case of the new drug molecule, but we are investing our money into the failure of the product. And already it has been told that if you are doing some study, if you are doing some experiments, if you are doing some kinds of the research, even though you won't get the desired results, so you are in this stage of finding the ways by which you can know that these are the ways by which we cannot obtain the particular product. So again, we have to incur the money onto the failure. So attrition at the last clinical trial phase is very expensive and can be disastrous for smaller companies. It is important to point out that in the last few years, some compounds have been pulled out late because it was true that they would not make a return onto the investment. Clearly, just getting a drug onto the market is not a case of goose laying in the golden age. So you can see the cost that is getting increased as far as the drug discovery is concerned from 70 to the 2004. So day by day the cost is getting increased. Then the product that will passes through the different stages of the clinical trials. Once a candidate has been selected and the various safety hurdles that will be addressed, it can be entered into the clinical trials. Now the compound generally that will enter clinical at phase 1, although the phase 0 trials, these are becoming more common. It is probably outside of the scope. Then phase one trial that will generally focus on to the safety. This is already I explained it to you. So in short, we will go for the observations. So as per our knowledge, the disease that will get increases. So does our knowledge of the potential of target effect. This increases the regulatory burden and limits available chemical space, which may account for the reduction into the new chemical entity coming into the trials. As per the procedure for developing the drug that will becomes more industrialized, the place for the maverick drug hunter that will becomes the threatened. As a result, some of the more off the wall ideas that may not be followed up, which is regrettable, as this type of thinking is often what causes quantum leaps in the development. So over the past 20 years, there has been a number of changes into the pharmaceutical industry. So just to think from a black box, we have to shift to the mechanistic approach. So although these are the benefit to the approach, there are some of the issues. So there is approach which is said to be the one disease, one gene hypothesis, which clearly has limitation, not least for disorders such as schizophrenia, amongst others, where effective drug seems to target the multiple receptors. So with this, we have to stop.